Zuburu, governance expert, who is joining us live from Kisumu, as well as Victor Ogeto, the National Vice Chair, Wiper Party. And Mr. Victor Ogeto gave us his view on what the position of the Wiper Party is. I'd like to get your take on this top story this morning, Mr. Oburu, the parting of ways of Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka. They have kissed and said goodbye, albeit some efforts by the ODM party to keep Whiter within the fold. Some of the dailies this morning are describing it as too little, too late. What's your take?
Good morning. We saw it coming, and from the outset, let me say that NASA coalition was a special purpose vehicle meant to make NASA, the NASA team comprised of Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, and Isaac Ruto win the 2017 general election to actualize their vision and dreams for the country through their manifesto. Now, the drama that happened, and we got to where, because I'm a member of ANC myself, I sit in the neck. So I'm alive to the realities that are in the public domain. This was bound to happen because many things happened thereafter, following that disputed election, and the fact that we didn't go into the second, the election that was ordered by the courts. That opened further new realities. And of course, after a general election, there's normally a journey for the future. You look to win the next election, you start preparing at the outset. So these parties were different parties brought together with one vision that didn't actualize. So they were bound to to engage themselves internally, to engage dialogue, internal dialogues. How do we move? How do we engage in this arena? That said and done, individual parties chose different paths. And of course, the agreement that bound the parties together was the NASA coalition agreement that specified certain things to happen, like sharing of the political parties fund. And now, ODM suddenly developed a sense of entitlement that further cracked the fissures of disagreement. And this brought us to where we are now, where the parties have to find new common ground so that the revenues are shared. And this being a political season, see if the parties can further engage, you know, because the aim of all parties is to form government. And the realities of today is that you cannot form a government alone, because Kenyans mobilize and organize themselves politically around communities, around regions. So to win an election in the region. So the realities on Raila and our party leaders that we need each other to move forward and to engage further. So as the three parties, ANC, Fort Kenya, and Wiper, we have coalesced around the One Kenya Alliance. A new conversation that has emerged, and in my view is the coalition that will take this country into the next election. And I don't see them moving to another coalition. So as ANC, we had our meeting, our top organ, the Amani Council, which replaced the ANC NEC, and resolved to pull out of NASA so that we give our party leadership and our party leader the legal leeway to negotiate and join other coalitions. And the conversation now is One Kenya Alliance. For One Kenya Alliance to enjoy the legal latitude, and the coalition partners within NASA must disengage and move and have free latitude to form one Kenya Alliance, so that the structures are developed, the vision is shared, And we hit the ground running. So that's where we are.
Okay,
and, yes.
Mr. Oburu, shall dig deeper into that as we move on with the show. But let's circle back to another story that is a hot topic across the country for, I think, a little over a week. Now, this has to do with the Madeira Member of Parliament, Rigathi Gachagwa's political and legal woes. We're told on the front page of the Daily Nation, Gachagua faces 72 years in jail over corruption. The Madeira Member of Parliament is staring at a lengthy prison sentence if found guilty of acquiring 7.3 billion shillings from proceeds of crime between 2013 and 2020. Now, there have been talk and undertones of a possible political influence to his fate. He is allied to the Deputy President William Ruto. The front page of the Standard this morning tells us, states a 7.5 billion case against Gachagua, and more details are on page 8. What do you make of this, Honorable James Gakuya?
Tricks, let me say, we must give those investigators that are investigating these criminal matters or these corruption issues their part and their time to do their job, because they are purposely, those agents are there purposely to deal with and prosecute those matters.
Yes.
The only bad image in this case is when things are done on what we call political horizons, and they look skewed, and sometimes you find an element of witch hunt in fight against corruption.
Yes.
I have no problem if the investigations are done well and keenly, and if the evidence tabled, proved and tabled before the court is enough to prosecute this matter and give the investigation agency a room to present their case. The only bad image is that at the end of the day, the headline today are so big headline, and you find that there is a tendency of making dramas every other day.
Okay.
That you must arrest a politician on Friday, so that he can he can be in the code of that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and present him on Monday. Gachagua is a member of parliament who could be summoned and been given a board and walk to the corridors of the court without being harassed in the manner he was harassed.
Okay.
And this particular case, I would urge that the investigators must leave that particular loom of drama aside, and they must be seen working for the betterment of the nation. Okay. Number two, I have no problem with all number of billions mentioned here. But what is very important is the proof. If the investigators has made proof that Gachagua was made all these particular deals under the carpet without following the rightful procedures. But if Gachagua followed the rightful procedures in the tendering processes, in the awarding processes, in acquiring money does not mean it's only people or angels from the moon who require to be billionaires. Any other Kenyan, any other citizen can become a billionaire, and we have many billionaires, not only Gachagua. What matters, how have you gained or have you accessed your dues? Have you accessed them in the correct path? If the answer is yes, then you have no business of being harassed.
Right.
Therefore, what we are waiting to see is how the matter will be prosecuted and how the matter will give its place in the corridors of the court. And here, I'm happy that the judge was very clear. He had no time to waste with Gachagua in corridors of in what we call custody, and gave him that particular board. No matter whether it was a heavy board, the board was able to be realized. And I would say, going forward, we have seen those mentioned in what we call KEMSA,
yes,
KEMSA, Dragnet, which up to date we have seen zero progress of this matter. I would like to say every Kenyans are equal, and we would like to see this battle and fight against corruption very, very, very balanced. We do not want to see areas where if you are not pro-government, you must be harassed. If you are not pro-system, you must be harassed. But if you are a part of the deep state, then you are protected by the deep state. I am asking myself a big question. Where were these culprits of KEMSA? Because they are still wrangling and they are still here using the taxpayers' money, but no action is being taken. We have not seen even a single person taken to write or even to record a statement, those who pocketed that money. I am asking, were they special, or who are they, or who is their protector? Are they under the roof of their godfather, and who is their godfather? If Gachagua has no godfather, he has to be harassed in this manner. This is a double standard of fighting corruption.
Okay. Now, Migori County Woman Rep Dr. Pamela Odhiambo is joining us via Zoom as well. And I'd like to get your opinion on this one and the political undertones that are being talked about here. Gachagua charged with 7.5 billion of shilling fraud, released on a 25 million bond. The judge said the bail terms were to reflect the severity of the corruption allegation against the Member of Parliament. And as Honorable Gakuya has said, it is curious, according to the many suggestions and some of the stories that are being covered, the speed and the efficiency of the law in tackling corruption when it comes to this particular legislator, as opposed to some other cases that one would hope to see the wheels turning. What do you make of this?
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Kenya. Host, can you give me a feedback? I hope you hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, because of those technical issues, and then I'm now joining this conversation so late when I was actually up at about 4:30 to be here. Allow me first, before I comment about the Gachagua case, to say a few things, or just one thing about a few cases that you have talked about before. The political undertones. It is very sad that I listened to all the speakers and everybody is trying to put a blame on ODM without looking at the causes and the issues that have been there before we reached where we are today. I will not be ashamed to say that the NASA coalition team decided to mess up themselves, and then when the money comes up, then all of a sudden they are active and blaming ODM, and yet they decided the coalition right from the very beginning, and they were nowhere. I think maybe we will need to rediscuss this issue, and Kenyans must grow to stand for the truth. I appreciate my Wiper and the ANC colleague, but let me tell you that this coalition may not go as far. And as somebody may be imagining that Raila will lose in Western and in Ukambani just because there is no Kalonzo and there is no Wetangula and Mudavadi, that is very wrong. There are people, the voters in those regions are intact, and that needs to be taken to the bank. Otherwise, I wish I could discuss it further than that, but because it is past, I was only giving my point because I think I needed to. On the issue of the school, also allow me to say something very pertinent to my heart. It is very painful that much as we know, all of us are suffering under this economic depression due to many other issues plus Corona, we are treating our children and our parents the way we are doing it. Yes, somebody will argue that the teachers need the money to run the schools, but really, why do they need the money? Especially those are in day schools. Most of, I think from 2017 up to now, the Ministry of Education has ensured that our children have books to use in those schools. And most of the day scholars are chased out of school because there is need for them to pay food for money. And I'm shocked about this because yes, I know our children should eat, but in the event that their parents are not able or do not pay for this food, why don't the teachers have the parents find an alternative way of feeding their children, but have them in school? And in case of boarding schools, like one of my colleagues alluded, yes, the child may come with little money, I am talking like this because being the women rep of Migori County, who represents the vulnerables, I have an overwhelming request. In fact, the whole of yesterday, I spent the day just laughing because I couldn't cry anymore. Everybody is asking for money to take their children to school. Well, it is hard to tell whether some of them are just asking, but I believe they are asking because they don't have the money. And so when the children reach the school, some of them have to travel long distances, and then they are sent back home. The parent did not get the money, even the fare. Some of us have had to fundraise to take these children to school. Something needs to be done in our system. When the government of Kenya, through the minister, says that the school fees is reduced, let it be so. Let the teachers keep the children in school and ask that minister, how are we going to do this and this and this? Let us not punish our children for mistakes which are not theirs. And in fact, I am of the opinion that if Kenya is sincere and genuine that we want to offer free basic education, then let us offer free basic education. We are hurting our children. We are growing people who become emotionally hurt, so that we have a rebellious nation and a wounded nation, and this is not good for all of us. I think let the teachers, the parents, and the ministry in particular, let the children be in school so that we don't have our children loitering, especially the younger boys and the girl child. We have seen a lot of issues surrounding the girl child and even the young boys. Some of them have gone into serious depression and some hang themselves because of issues that are emanating from their harassment in the school environment. I think we need to be categorical about this. I'm of the opinion that teachers let the children stay in school. Having said that, you've just asked me about the issue of Gachagua and the issue of corruption. To sum it all, I hate corruption. And it is in order that, as Gakuya said earlier, every investigation should be given a chance. And I think I concur with many of us in Kenya. All these corruption cases that are making Kenyans feel like, yes, after all, it has been normalized, need to be brought to book. Because I am not saying that Gachagua could not be arrested or could not be investigated. But you see now, look at what all the other leaders, like my colleague Honorable Gakuya is saying. It makes every Kenyan feel like every time we have a case, you find a section of Kenyans saying, oh, we are being harassed because of this and this. And this is true in all these cases. I have no case heard of any case that has been mentioned in Kenya where somebody did not complain that now we are being targeted. Because I think even when we were talking about the Kimarer Dam, when we were talking about even that KEMSA that he's mentioning, there were people who are out there who are claiming that we are being targeted and so is being targeted. So I think, again, much as I would want a universal approach to dealing with all these cases, this cry which keeps featuring is also injuring our nation. Why don't we allow it that these investigators give us a complete answer and demand for all those other cases to be investigated and be brought to book, instead of a team ganging up and saying, oh, now he's aligned to the DP, he's being targeted, and all these kind of things. I think Kenyans, it is high time we simply said no to any corrupt deeds. Like somebody was joking, I don't know whether he was joking or saying the truth in the internet, that this God, these gods you are worshiping, who are able to put $1 million in somebody's account on a daily basis, and yet the same God only gives wheelbarrows to others on the street. You know, look at the state where we have driven Kenyans thought. Corruption is wrong. Malicious or fraudulent acquisition of wealth that cannot be explained is wrong. And we need to say that regardless of who is mentioned in these cases. Okay. So as for me, I think every corrupt case, beginning with all those Anglo-leasing, the chicken gate and all those gates, can the perpetrators be brought to book? Kenya is a country which I believe has enough resources which can actually take care of each one of us to a meaningful level. But because some of us hold so much of that money and are not willing to release it into the economy, now everybody are crying until our own children are frustrated they cannot even stay in school. Why are we doing this?